Hey guys, Dzień Dobry. Welcome to Poland Safar. My name is Riju and today we are going to discuss all about dependent visa. So first, let's understand some basic things about dependent visa. Who is it for? Who can apply for dependent visa? Now, if your husband is working in Poland and you want to travel with your husband, you're dependent on your husband. A child is also dependent on your husband, right? So, you apply for dependent visa. So basically it is for spouse and the child of the primary visa holder. Secondly, how can you apply for dependent visa? Should you apply with the primary visa holder or you should apply separately? Means you want to apply it together or you want to apply separately. Well, both are possible. It depends what you choose. In the first method, your husband can go to the particular country. Like here, for example, we are talking about Poland. Your husband can come to Poland. He can start working. He can look for a rented house. He can settle in and then call the wife or the children. And then you can apply for dependent visa, wife and a child, and then you can directly go to fly to Poland. Whereas what we did in our method, we chose to fly together. So I got my visa done along with my husband. That is he is the primary visa holder. So we thought that's a better way because then we don't have to go and visit VFS office another time, which is in itself is a big headache. So getting done with the visa process at once is a big challenge. So we thought of coming together was a good decision. Now let's talk about work eligibility. If you're a dependent visa holder, are you allowed to work in this country? You can't work for the Polish company until you have the work permit. If you want to work here on dependent visa, then you need to get the work permit and then only you can work. Then comes travel eligibility. Well, with dependent visa, you can travel within the Schengen area. There are 26 countries which comes under Schengen area and you can use your dependent visa to travel. Next question is, how do I apply for dependent visa? So the process is same as the primary visa holder. You need to go to VFS. You need to log into VFS website, get yourself an appointment for the dependent visa, and then collect the necessary documents which you need to take to VFS. And then on the appointment day, submit your documents with your fingerprints and wait for your passport to arrive. It's the same process as that of a national visa. So now let's discuss the details of the document required for the dependent visa. First and foremost, you require an appointment letter from the VFS website. Once you receive the appointment, you need to take a printout of the VFS appointment letter, and then because it has a barcode, so when you enter the VFS office, they scan the barcode and they check the date and all, and then they make you enter. So make sure your appointment letter is printed. Secondly is your passport. Now your passport has to be neatly kept. It should not be torn. It should not be damaged. There should be enough validity for the passport. Because in our case, we suffered was a damage to the passport, my husband's passport, and that became a big issue. So make sure your passport is in good condition with enough validity. Third one is very important, is application form. Now you need to go to the VFS website and download their application form which VFS people want. Because in our case, we had an application form of 4 pages, whereas the VFS people wanted application form of 3 pages. So they'll again send you back for the printout of application form, and then they'll make you charge 2000 rupees for an application form. You need to avoid all that. Better go to the VFS website, download the application form, I think which is of 3 pages, 4 pages according to them, according to the latest application form, whatever they've updated on their website. Download, make sure it is printed, like whatever information you're putting or typing on the application form, it is printed word to word from your passport, everything. If for example, in my passport, it was written Bangalore. Yeah, it was written Bangalore. But in my application form, I had written Bengaluru, like it was written Bengaluru. So even that they were not accepting, even for the address. So make sure everything is word to word a copy of your passport. And make sure it is not handwritten, because I remember there was a guy who came and he didn't know he had filled his application form with pen. So they again sent him back, and then he had to again get his application form done, and it was again 2000 rupees for one application form. So it's better to avoid all that and fill your application form digitally only. Next one is photos. Poland has some specific photo specification, and it's better to go to a well-known shop. Like we went to GK and we just told them the country we are going to, and according to the Poland specification, they printed us the passport photos and gave it to us. So make sure you also have extra photos with you. Next important document is covering letter. Now covering letter is a letter from yourself. You're writing it to the embassy digitally better. Now in covering letter, what all you should mention is why are you traveling, the reason for your travel. Like in my case, I wanted to travel because my husband was going to Poland, so I had mentioned that. Also in the covering letter, you have to mention the list of documents you have attached, and then also where you will be staying. If the place you're staying is allotted to you, so that also is better to mention. And any other information which might help your visa process can be mentioned in the covering letter. Next one is invitation letter, and it's one of the most important document for the dependent visa. Now invitation letter should be written by the primary visa holder. In my case, my husband was the primary visa holder. It should be written to the embassy inviting the wife to stay with the husband. So I have my invitation letter here. I will just let you know what all details we had put in our invitation letter. So my husband had mentioned where he's staying, first and foremost, where he's working, and what is my purpose of visit, and what is the duration of my stay with him. So these things were written in our invitation letter. So this format is available online. You can log into one of the websites and you can just download the format which suits your purpose of visit, and then go on to take a printout. The next one is marriage certificate and birth certificate if you have a child. Now marriage certificate is a proof that you have been married to that particular person. So you're submitting it to the embassy as a proof of relationship. Same goes for the birth certificate of your child. Now you cannot blindly take your marriage certificate. You need to get an apostille done for the marriage certificate and for the birth certificate. So we got an apostille done for our marriage certificate. Behind, this is the original certificate we have. So behind, we got an apostille done. How to get an apostille done, what is an apostille, all that we'll cover in a different video. So remember that on your original document, you are getting the apostille done. So your original document should be submitted along with the copy of the document, both marriage certificate and if you have child, birth certificate. Don't worry, the original will be returned to you with the passport. So next one is proof of accommodation. So there can be two cases where your husband is already there in Poland and he's staying. So in that case, you can get the proof of accommodation from your husband and submit it to the embassy. For example, it's a rent agreement, right? Yeah. So you can get the rent agreement from your husband and submit it to the embassy. Whereas in our case, where we traveled together, we got a 30-day accommodation. So that we had submitted as proof to the embassy. Next is financial proof. Now remember, you cannot submit bank statement to the embassy as a financial proof. You need to have credit card or Forex card. In my case, I didn't have credit card. So I went with Forex card. I went to the bank and purchased myself a Forex card which was preloaded with 3,000 euros. So the bank gave me a statement showing that I have 3,000 euros in my bank with the manager's signature and stamp. Stamp is very important. So you need to submit that as a proof. So also remember, in some banks they will say, oh, we cannot give you the stamp and all that. It is mandatory. It's better to get the stamp done. Forex card is just like debit card. It is preloaded with the international currency. So in our case, it was euros because most of the bank, they don't give zlotys as a currency, especially in India. So we got the card in euros. So then next one is flight tickets. You need to show the proof of the flight tickets. So better to take a printout and a Xerox and present it to them. And also if you're going for a short-term basis, then return tickets also you need to show a proof of the return tickets. So the next document is travel medical insurance. Make sure it starts from the day you land in Poland and covers the entire stay. And it should be 30,000 euros at least. And it's preferable to get it from a Polish company. Also carry your local ID proof other than your passport, like Aadhaar card if you have, that's better. Next is passport copy. So it's better to take your passport Xerox and the pages where you have other visas and travel history to take everything Xerox and submit it to the embassy. So the last set of documents is all related to your spouse. Okay, his passport, his work permit, his employment contract, all these have to be submitted to the embassy. And when you go to the VFS office, always carry cash. So these are all the documents you require for dependent visa. I hope that your VFS documentation submission goes very smoothly. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box. We'll try our best to answer everything possible. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Dziękuję. Do widzenia. Have a nice day.